Welcome to the Megacast, our live local daily TV radio and streaming show looking into all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Today we'll be talking to a number of people about topics of interest and importance to Michiganders, just like you. Let's begin with what's making headlines today on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page. Our top article comes from the Associated Press via MLive. Concerns are rising in the public health community as we approach the major end-of-year holidays about a spike in what's now known as the triple-demic viruses of COVID-19, seasonal influenza, and RSV. Said the president of the American College for Emergency Physicians, Dr. Christopher S. Kang, quote, "Hospitals are filling with patients who have severe respiratory illnesses, and many emergency departments are more strained today than any other recent time, even during the pandemic. Respiratory illnesses like flu, RSV, or COVID can have similar symptoms, and it is important to distinguish between health concerns that can be managed at home and worrisome signs of a possible emergency," and closed quote. So far this season, just amongst flu patients, there's been around 8.7 million illnesses, 78,000 of those resulting in hospitalizations, and 4,500 deaths so far, according to the metrics from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Doctors and other health experts continue to urge those ever-present pandemic precautions as a way and a means to prevent the spread of these illnesses this season, including social distancing, physical distancing when possible, wearing a mask in public and in congested areas where a lot of people are around you or you're around a lot of people, and or when you are feeling under the weather. Getting vaccinated is also another way to help prevent the spread of these diseases or severe cases of them, as well as, of course, vigorous hand washing that we have been told from the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic and really the COVID crisis altogether in 2020. Very helpful in preventing the spread of these respiratory diseases. We're out and about more. The COVID-19 fatigue definitely continues to bleed over in this first season where widespread awareness and prevention tactics maybe aren't entirely there or entirely being inspired on the community level or person-to-person basis. That's a cause for public health concern, of course, as hospitalizations rise in the cases of flu, RSV, and COVID-19. They're very similar. They all spread very similar ways to one another, and of course, raising some concerns, some alarm bells in the public health community. Also making headlines today on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page, this time from the Detroit News' Hannah McKay. The Oakland County Prosecutor's Office claims that their case against the parents of the Oxford High School shooter is, quote, "stronger than ever," and closed quote. Recently, James and Jennifer Crumbly's attorneys have been working to lower their bond so that they may be released from jail during their trial, arguing that they are not a risk to flee. Keep in mind, Mr. and Mrs. Crumbly were apprehended hiding out in Detroit prior to their arrest just about a year ago. In this case. In response to the request to lower the bond, Prosecutor McDonald and her office claimed that Jennifer Crumbly expressed concerns about her son's mental health prior to her husband James purchasing their son a gun, a claim that severely counters the defense's claim in this case, as they argue to lower their client's bond, that they were grossly negligent in their son's mental health and had no idea about his aspirations for violence. Both of the shooter's parents have been charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter in the case, of course, those stemming from the murder of 4 students on their son's behalf. Charges unprecedented in past cases of school shootings in which parents of shooters typically have not been charged or convicted altogether. James and Jennifer Crumbly's case remains ongoing at this time. Finally making headlines today on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page from Darcy Moran and Bill Leitner at the Detroit Free Press. A suspect has finally been arrested in the case of the bombing of Pan Am Flight 103 all the way back in 1988 that resulted in the death of 270 people, including 16 Michiganders, officials confirmed on Sunday. According to a statement from the U.S. Department of Justice, quote, "The United States has taken custody of alleged Pan Am Flight 103 bomb maker Abu Aguila Mohammed Masood," and closed quote. 33 years ago, Pan Am Flight 103 was bombed over Lockerbie, Scotland, just 4 days prior to Christmas, in a terrorist plot ordered by the Libyan government under then-dictator Muammar Gaddafi. Gaddafi, who died in 2011 after his regime was overthrown, previously applauded Massoud for his role in the murder of 270 people in Scottish airspace, including those 16 from Michigan. Let's take a moment as some closure begins to amount in this tragedy to recognize those Michiganders lost aboard Pan Am Flight 103 33 years ago. This as written by the Detroit Free Press. Lawrence Bennett, 41 at the time of Lima Township, was a chemist for Warner Lambert Company in Ann Arbor. Diane Boatman Fuller, 35 years old, was a former Detroit school teacher, raised in Detroit, working in the city, and then moved to Los Angeles and then London to pursue a career as a playwright, family told the Detroit Free Press. Following her death, she was enjoying some success and had booked a flight home as a surprise visit for the holidays. Charles Fisher, a 34-year-old of the famous Detroit Fisher family, did not get his 35th birthday celebration in Grosse Pointe Farms as planned when flying home for the holidays. Charles T. Fisher IV was planning when fly home for the holidays and celebration, and he was at the time an assistant bank vice president in the London office of the New York-based Citicorp at the time of his death. His family is perhaps best known for the Art Deco Fisher building in the city, along with their success in the automotive industry. The first, Charles T. Fisher, served as the president of Fisher Body Company and vice president of General Motors, while the second and third, his father and grandfather, headed up the National Bank of Detroit, later renamed NBD Bancorp. James Fuller, 50, of Bloomfield Hills, was vice president in charge of Volkswagen United States. He was flying home from a meeting at the company headquarters in West Germany. Additionally, Army Special Forces Kenneth J. Gibson, 20, of Romulus, was ending a tour as a mortarman with the Berlin Brigade in West Germany. Pamela Herbert, 19, of Battle Creek, was a junior at Bowdoin College in Brunswick, Maine. Khalid Jafar, 21, of Dearborn, was a college student born in Lebanon, and his family, which had immigrated for years, fought claims published by national news organizations that anonymous sources said he may have unwittingly carried the bomb aboard as a drug courier for the Drug Enforcement Administration. 2 years after the bombing, the FBI said they found no evidence of this, and the DEA disavowed any ties to him or his family. His family and community members had insisted he was traveling home from visiting childhood friends from Lebanon in Frankfurt. Gregory Kosmowski, 40, of Milford, was a vice president of marketing and development at Lucas Industries in Troy. Lou Marengo, 33, of Rochester, was marketing director for Volkswagen United States. He was flying home from a meeting at their headquarters in West Germany. Garima Ratan, 29, of Warren, her 3-year-old daughter, Saruchi, and her 2-year-old son, Anmol, were also on the flight. Army Sergeant Mary Smith, 34, of Kalamazoo, was also on the flight, as well as Arva Tony Thomas, 17, of Detroit, who had been attending school in West Germany, where a brother in the Army was stationed. He was a former church choir director and a talented high school basketball player. Air Force Sergeant Lawana Thomas, 21, of Southfield, and her 2-month-old son, Jonathan Thomas, were also killed in the flight. Her parents waited at an airport gate for her, only to have her never arrive. The suspect will begin his initial court appearance in the District of Columbia very soon. All those headlines are making news today on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page, along with links to COVID-19 and other health updates from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, as well as the Oakland County Health Division. We have a great show ahead on this Monday edition of the Megacast. Coming up next, we'll take a look back at a recent interview we had with Trent Meir from 42 Strong about how the memory of his late brother Tate continues to uplift the Oxford community in a number of ways. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick.
The virus will die.
It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine.
To keep safe and strong.
Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about our program on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find more information on all of our partnering stations across the Great Lakes state, including My Michigan TV, and find all of our full shows, as well as each individual interview on demand as well. The website, once again, is civiccentertv.com/megacast. Previously on the program, we were pleased to be joined by Trent Meir from 42 Strong, an organization located in Oxford in memory of Tate Meir, who was lost just over a year ago in the shooting at Oxford High School. This organization does great work inspiring the minds and the spirits and the hearts of students in the Oxford area by way of mentorship and partnership with other students and kids in the Oxford area. We recently were joined by Trent on the program to talk about the development of 42 Strong, what it does for the community, and potentially some expansion in the future for that organization here in our local area. Let's take a look. Joining us now on the program is the Director of Operations at 42 Strong. Trent Meir is the brother of the late Tate Meir, one of four students that, of course, were lost in the tragic school shooting at Oxford High School on November 30th, 2022. 42 Strong was founded as a way to continue Tate's legacy and his impact of leadership in the community. Trent, we thank you so much for joining us today to tell us more.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Tyler. And thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak more about 42 Strong. So for those of you who don't know about 42 Strong, we are a peer-to-peer mentorship program based in the Oxford community as of right now. When Tate was here, he had an impact on a lot of kids and he mentored a lot of people. You know, we didn't know this when he was actually doing it. So in the days after November 30th and the weeks after November 30th, we were getting stories, you know, from parents, his peers, you know, people he was mentoring about all the amazing things that he did. And so, you know, we thought there's not a better way to let his legacy live on than to keep impacting those kids and kids he even would not impact in other communities by a peer mentorship program.
So let's go talk about what exactly this peer-to-peer mentorship program is and how it has that impact that you had mentioned that Tate had and had been enacting himself so quietly, but so impactfully in the Oxford community. During his life. Tell us about the peer-to-peer mentor program and how it takes what Tate had done during his time with us and expands that out to kids across the Oxford community.
Right. So I'll kind of start how exactly we formed, then I'll go into that. So Tate mentored a kid at a local gym, ETS, and he had a rough home life, rough coming up, and Tate kind of mentored him and was there for him. And his mom had experience with nonprofits. So she came to us late December of 2021 and said, I would like to have a peer mentorship program. And of course we were in on it. You know, Tate was all about that. So, you know, our mentees are 6th to 9th grade, and then our mentors are 10th to 12th grade. So the goal is really just to give these kids a friend, give them someone they can talk to, right? Because kids don't really want to talk to their parents. They don't want to talk to somebody that's older. They want to have someone that they can relate to. And that's all we're doing with 42 Strong. We're just trying to give these kids a platform give them a friend that's 3 to 4 years apart from them that they can relate to, right? These kids are going through the same social media stuff. They're going through all the same stuff that they're going through right now. Parents don't exactly understand what's going on in the kid's head these days. They, maybe 30 years ago, but it's not the same as it is now. So we're just giving them a friend, a peer that they can relate to and talk to.
More information can be found on 42strongtate.org, 42strongtate.org for more information, as well as how you can become a mentee or a mentor in future years. Of course, 2022, 2023, their program is full, but you can find more information there at 42strongtate.org about how you and your kids can participate in the future as well. And just going back to the origins of this, about a year ago,
Mm-hmm.
you mentioned some of the bits and pieces of how this peer-to-peer mentoring program came together. But for you, as one of Tate's brothers, and with this organization being founded by your family, as well as many of the friends of Tate that he had during his life, how did that come together into this specific organization and this specific project to continue that legacy that Tate left with us?
Yeah, it was a lot of work. We didn't know exactly what we wanted, what we were going to do. All we knew was the world needs something like this. The world needs more people like Tate, right? Not Tate in specific, but the traits that he had every single day. We have our 12 Tate traits. There are traits like trustworthy, accountable, selfless. A lot of people are losing those quality traits in their life that help the community, help the people around them. So, it started actually as kind of a sports mentoring program. That's what we started as. But, we had board meetings that would go for 4 or 5 hours in early January. And we were like, a lot of these kids that are in sports already have a structure in life. They have their friends through sports and stuff. We need to reach the kids who aren't in sports, that aren't in after school clubs, right? Because those are the kids that aren't raising their hands and don't have friends, right? So, and one of the things that stuck out to us that we learned is the best part of some kids' day is, or the worst part, I'm sorry, the worst part of some kids' day is lunchtime at school. Because everybody's hanging out with their friends, but if you don't have a friend, it's a very hard time for you. So, just something as simple as that. We're just trying to give these kids a friend that they can, go hang out with at lunch, right? Something as simple as that. We're just trying to make an impact, the smallest or biggest impact we can in every kid that we can.
Joined by Trent Meir on today's edition of the Megacast, the Director of Operations at 42 Strong. You can find more information on their website, 42strongtate.org. You can also find them across social media on Twitter, 42 Strong Tate. Same goes for Facebook as well as Instagram. To find more information, keep up to date with them, and learn more about the Tate traits that Trent had just spoken to us about as well. And from the onset, Trent, it was really, I remember when this organization was founded and first hearing about it a year ago, and the initial reaction, there was a lot of excitement, and people really got involved from the jump quite significantly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had an amazing outreach and support from the Oxford community, right? It hit our town hard. And Tate was a big part of that town and that school. So people really wanted to support 42 Strong. But not only has the Oxford community been supporting us, but we've had a lot of support from the whole nation. We had the Pat Tillman Foundation reach out, and they're a huge foundation, and they've kind of helped us, and they've almost mentored us kind of in this process, because we have a 7-person board, and we don't exactly know what we're doing. We're just kind of building the plane as we fly it. So, we're figuring this out on the fly. We just want to have an amazing program for these kids. So, and then we've also had a lot of other school districts that have reached out, Michigan and outside of Michigan, looking to have a program like 42 Strong. How can we replicate this? So that's what we're working on right now. And, that's the goal for 42 Strong. We want to have we want this thing to go across the nation because kids need friends. And, our country's it's hungry for a program like this.
We're joined by Trent Meir from 42 Strong on today's edition of the Megacast. And Trent, just in the year that this organization has been running this peer-to-peer mentorship program and has been doing what it's been doing, we know the impact that Tate doing a lot of these things has had on the Oxford community, on kids at Oxford High School and throughout other schools in the community. What has been the impact so far from the kids that have talked back to 42 Strong, or their families who have responded on what they've gotten out of this program so far in just the year that it's been operating?
Yeah, it's been amazing feedback, right? We're having, mentees that, were shy or didn't have much friends, now we would try to pair them with a mentor that's a little more outgoing, right? So kind of that yin yang. So we're having a lot of mentees that, parents coming out saying, my kid's a lot happier and my kid's doing better in school. And the same goes for mentors, right? The focus is obviously on the mentees. Everybody thinks what the mentee is going to get out of this program, but the mentor is getting just as much. They're having a purpose of being there for someone and doing anything that mentee would need. So yeah, and even mentors have been like, my bucket is a lot fuller now through 42 Strong, being there for my mentee.
More information can be found, as well as how you can get involved as a mentor or a mentee in the future, at 42strongtate.org. That's 42strongtate.org for more information, as well as ways that you can support the organization through their fundraisers and your own individual donations as well, and support this peer-to-peer mentorship program and other initiatives from 42 Strong now and in the future. 42strongtate.org. You can also follow them across social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at 42 Strong Tate as well. Trent, you mentioned earlier on that currently this is a program that is entirely centered in the Oxford community. Any discussion or any potential in the future that this could be expanded out even further beyond the Oxford community, given that it's already having such an immense positive impact for so many individuals across the board in your community?
Yeah. So yeah, we talk about this as a family a lot. We want, not only do we want Tate's legacy to live on like throughout the country, but peer mentorship needs to be a thing throughout the country, we believe. So that is definitely a long-term goal, maybe a medium-term goal. We want to perfect what we have in Oxford right now, get all the kinks out so that when we go and give this to other people who want to start one in their community, it'll be a flawless transition. So yeah, and we're already in talks with some surrounding communities and then out-of-state communities on how we can implement this program into their community.
And for you, as one of Tate's siblings and as someone that was close with Tate and others, family, friends, others in the Oxford High School and Oxford Schools community that were close with Tate while he was with us, how has this impacted you and impacted them over this past year, to see his legacy, to see his traits and the way that he worked to impact the community continue to have such a strong impact on Oxford?
This is the hardest thing I'm ever going to have to go through, right? Tate, we all love Tate, and he was kind of the cornerstone of our family and a lot of his friend groups. He kind of was the glue that held everything together. There's stories about when his guy and girlfriend groups would be fighting and he would just say, guys, like, this is pointless. Let's just all come together and let's just do this. So, I'm proud of the work that he put in. We didn't know all the stuff that he was doing when he was here. And I'm just beyond proud of the work that he put in and how selfless he was. And I just want to carry on that legacy.
More information can be found on 42 Strong by visiting their website, 42strongtate.org, 42strongtate.org, for information on their peer mentorship program, Tate's Traits, fundraisers, and how you can help the organization directly through your donations as well. 42strongtate.org, and you can also find them across social media at 42 Strong Tate. Trent, before we let you go, anything else that you'd like us to know at this time or keep in mind about 42 Strong?
I would say, so we have a saying with our 12 Tate traits, go to our website or social media, pick one of those traits and just strive to get better at that trait every single day, right? If that's accountable, okay, I'm going to be accountable at school. I'm going to be accountable at work. I'm going to be accountable with my family, right? And if you do that, we can all work together to make this world a better place.
Trent, we appreciate you joining us and telling us more about 42 Strong. Thank you so much today.
Thank you for having me.
Always appreciate having local community organizations on to talk about the efforts they're making in the community. And it was great also in the wake of the 1-year anniversary of the shooting at Oxford High School to have Trent Meir on the program to talk about his brother Tate and the legacy that he left in the Oxford community, as well as how the Oxford community continues to pass on the legacy of Tate Meir, as well as all the things that made him so revered in the Oxford High School community and in the wider community as well, and continue to make an impact on kids in Oxford, and hopefully sometime in the future, kids even further beyond Oxford, as this organization, as Trent said, also inspiring other communities across Michigan and around the U.S. to do something similar. We'll take a break on the Megacast. On the other side, the Detroit Lions had a big win over the weekend against the Minnesota Vikings. That's 5 wins out of the last 6 games, with that one loss being on Thanksgiving in that close game against the Buffalo Bills. On the other side, are the Lions for real? I'll analyze that, look into it. I'll give you my take next on the Megacast.
Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
Hey Laker fans, do you know a friend or neighbor that volunteers in Greater West Bloomfield? We would love to help you recognize them at the 51st Annual Michigan Week Awards. Countless members of the communities of Orchard Lake, Keego Harbor, Sylvan Lake, and West Bloomfield give their time and talent daily without regard for recognition. You can help recognize these individuals and organizations at our awards breakfast next year on May 12, 2023. Nominate your neighbor or organization starting January 28, 2023. Go to michiganweek.org for details.
Let's savor these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick.
The virus will die.
It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine.
To keep safe and strong.
Be like happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4.
What's happening around you? Hear about state events, businesses, and from the people behind them on the Megacast, an hour-long TV, radio, and streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Listen in on talks with volunteer groups, documentarians, and financial advisors, Monday to Friday with your host, Tyler Kieft. Catch the Megacast weekdays from 10 a.m. to 11 on Civic Center TV, 89.3 Lakes FM, and streaming on mymytv.com.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show looking into all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. You can learn more about the program on our website, civiccentertv.com/Megacast. We'll find information on all of our partnering stations and find our full shows and each individual interview on demand as well. civiccentertv.com/Megacast. Well, the Detroit Lions, surging in the NFC North over the past 6 weeks, winning 5 out of the last 6 games. Their lone loss being, of course, on Thanksgiving Day in that close 28-25 loss at home against the Buffalo Bills. Other than that, this team has looked like it's been very different than before that. Coming into that game, they were 1-6 overall. Now have won 5 out of the last 6 games to bring their record to a much more palatable level at 6-7. They are now second in the NFC North. And the big thing is, this is something that a lot of the pundits, certainly a lot of the fans, we're hoping for. It's kind of a realistic benchmark on the high end for this Lions team this season. They're on that graphic you see each and every weekend as analysts are talking about the playoff picture in the NFL, certainly in the NFC, where the Lions conference, they're on the bubble. They can potentially make the playoffs if they win out these next 4 games they have in the regular season. That being said, let's take a look back at the last 6 weeks of Lions football, because they've won 5 out of the last 6 games. During that span, they have averaged 354 yards of total offense. This offense has had excellent games over the last 6 weeks, and particularly these last 2 weeks. Last week at home against the Jacksonville Jaguars in that big 40-14 victory at Ford Field, and over the weekend as they beat the Minnesota Vikings, a team that came into that game with 1 loss on the season and leading the division. A decisive win there, 34-23 yesterday against the Minnesota Vikings. And in these last 2 games, think about the last 6, 354 yards of total offense, that's passing and rushing per game. The last 2 weeks against the Jaguars and the Vikings, that average has spiked to 450 yards of total offense per game. They've also been rushing well too. This is a Lions team that historically has not, other than guys like Barry Sanders, and since Barry Sanders, just one other guy in Reggie Bush, has had multiple 100-yard rushing games for the Detroit Lions. That was the status quo for a long time. The rushing game been much better over these last 6 games. 3 out of the 6 of those, they've averaged 100 yards and of rushing across their running back unit. And even in the games that they missed, those 3 games out of 6 where they did not get to that 100-yard rushing mark, they had several guys that were close. They had guys that altogether came to be within 5 to 6 yards of 100 yards total. And then let's talk about the offensive scheme. Ben Johnson and the offense he's put out on that field over the last 6 weeks, it seems like it's finally clicking. It seems like it's working. This team is healthy, particularly on the offensive side of the ball. Great offensive line, one of the most highly regarded offensive lines in football. And it's showing, A, in the way they're able to rush the football, B, in the way that they're passing, and having those weapons coming back from injury, guys, particularly like Jamison Williams, 12th overall pick. The Lions traded up to get this guy, and he had an excellent weekend too. A touchdown against the Minnesota Vikings, a big pass reception in his first game of the season against the Jacksonville Jaguars. But the big guy here I'd like to give some praise to is Jared Goff, the quarterback, a guy that's come under a lot of flack as a quarterback, both for the Los Angeles Rams previously, as well as for the Detroit Lions. And while there are a lot of questions, and validly so, about his future in Detroit, is he the guy that can be the franchise quarterback for this Lions team as they hope to contend in the near future and potentially win some playoff games, maybe even well beyond that performance. Is he the guy? And rightfully so. In past situations, particularly the Super Bowl year in Los Angeles, there was plenty to be said about his performance and his ability to get that team over the hump. But let's analyze his last 6 games. He's also been excellent. The last 3 games in particular for Jared Goff, he has been overall 81 for 117 passing, including 27 complete passes out of 39 in one game, another 31 for 41. And his worst performance in the last 3 weeks was a 23 for 37 performance overall. But overall, his average has been a 69% completion percentage over the last 3 weeks, 303 passing yards per game, and a total of 7 touchdowns. That's a little over 2 touchdowns on average per game. The 3 games before that in this last 6-game run, where the Lions have won 5 out of 6, the previous 3 games before that, his completion average was down 5%, 64%. He was only averaging 159 yards per game and 1 touchdown per game. And he had an interception in that period. He's gone 3 games without an interception. He's throwing for over 300 yards per game versus just under 160 in the previous 3-game period. And his completion percentage has gone up. A lot of that can be credited to having healthy receivers that are running great routes and great offensive calls being made by the offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson, and head coach Dan Campbell. But Jared Goff has been excellent in these last 3 weeks in particular, and over this last 6-game period. And the Lions certainly are looking at a playoff appearance, potentially, depending on how these last 4 weeks go. I have this graphic here. You're not going to be able to really read it much, but it's not really much of a graphic. It's more just a piece of paper. I wrote down notes on the Lions several weeks ago after the 3rd game of the regular season, the 9th game of the regular season, when the Lions were then 3-6 overall. And now since then, they beat the Vikings. I didn't think that was going to be a win. I thought that was going to be a loss. They beat the Jaguars. I thought that would be a win. They lost to the Bills. I thought that would be a loss. They got 4 games left. The New York Jets, the Carolina Panthers, the Chicago Bears, and their final game of the season, of course, against the Green Bay Packers. These last 4 games, they can win those 4 games. They can win all 4 of those. I think they probably win 3 out of 4. I think they drop 1 to either the Packers or the Bears, probably the Packers. Tough to beat them twice in a season. But regardless of if they're 9-8 or 10-7, they're going to be in the playoff picture in a weak NFC. And it's time for us to start thinking maybe these Lions aren't the same old putty cats they've been in years past. Well, as much as I love to talk more about the Detroit Lions, analyze this more and tell you why you should be excited. And there is reason to be happy and be optimistic for the first time in a long time about this Lions team. We have more to get to on the Megacast, and we'll certainly have more time to talk about this in the future. We'll take a break on the Megacast. On the other side, we'll be joined by Rabbi Kasriel Shemtov from Chabad Lubavitch of Michigan. You're watching and listening to the Megacast.
My Michigan TV is streaming everywhere on Apple TV, Roku, Fire TV, and more smart TV apps. My Michigan TV is on your phone, too. Take us with you wherever you go. Just search for My Michigan TV on your favorite app store or visit mymitv.com. All Michigan, streaming everywhere. My Michigan TV.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick.
The virus will die.
It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine.
To keep safe and strong.
Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Wondering what to say to someone who's been sexually assaulted or abused?
I believe you. I'm so sorry this happened.
It's not your fault.
Confidential and anonymous help is available at the Michigan Sexual Assault Hotline. Connect with us 24/7. Call 855-VOICES-4 or text 1-866-238-1454 for help. Learn more at michigan.gov/voices4.
What's happening around you? Hear about state events, businesses, and from the people behind them on the Megacast, an hour-long TV, radio, and streaming show keeping you informed on the day-to-day news. Listen in on talks with volunteer groups, documentarians, and financial advisors, Monday to Friday with your host, Tyler Kieft. Catch the Megacast weekdays from 10 a.m. to 11 on Civic Center TV, 89.3 Lakes FM, and streaming on mymytv.com.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. You can learn more about our program on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find information and links to every one of our partnering TV, radio, and streaming outlets across Oakland County and around the state of Michigan, with coverage on My Michigan TV, our co-flagship, as well as links to find us on demand if you're not able to tune in for the full 5-day-a-week, 1-hour marathon that is the Megacast, or only certain topics of interest are there for you that we're covering on each and every show. You can find all of our full episodes and each individual interview on demand on our website as well. CivicCenterTV.com/Megacast, the place to go for that. Well, we are in the end of the year holiday season, a busy time of the year for those across all different walks of life and faiths. And when we think about this time of the year, we think about the big three holidays at the end of the year: Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa. Joining us now on the program from Chabad Lubavitch of Michigan is their executive director and vice president, Rabbi Kasriel Shemtov, to talk to us about Hanukkah. Rabbi, thanks for being with us today.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, glad to have you on with us to talk about this holiday. So many people that aren't aware of the meaning of Hanukkah, or aren't really aware of the major high holidays of the Jewish faith, may not be familiar with just how significant Hanukkah is to those that practice Judaism. It's not the most important holiday. It's not necessarily the highest of the holidays in Judaism, but it does have quite a lot of significance. So for those that aren't familiar, tell us about Hanukkah and what significance it has to those that practice Judaism.
Yes, Hanukkah, it's always exciting to be coming towards this wonderful holiday. It's a warm holiday, a beautiful holiday, a holiday that warms the hearts and inspires us to bring light into the world. And it's for this season, it's the most important holiday to us. It's over 2,000 years ago when the Jews were in the Holy Land. They were being oppressed as a people by the Syrian Greeks, who were trying to root out the culture and religion of Judaism. And you had a small band of Jews that were able to come together and fight back, stand up for their religion, stand up for their dedication to God, and prevailed. The miracle that happened was they came back to the Holy Temple, and in the Holy Temple, which was defiled, disgraced by the Greeks, they were able to then dedicate that Holy Temple and light the candelabra, the menorah. The menorah was a feature of the Holy Temple where every day you would light this candelabra to light up the temple and beyond the temple to the world. But you had to do it with pure olive oil. And there was only one jug of pure olive oil available, which can only last one day. And this is the miracle that happened. They lit the candle, they lit the jug of oil, the menorah, and the miracle happened that it remained for 8 days. And so we celebrate this celebration of Hanukkah throughout history. And it's really a celebration for the Jewish people and beyond the Jewish people, where it teaches us the power of religious freedom, of being able to stand up to your values, to the values that God has given us. And it tells us how each one of us can become a light and light up the world around us.
Rabbi, I understand from our notes that you brought some symbols with you today that represent this holiday in the Jewish faith. Can you tell us about those symbols and their meaning, both for Hanukkah, but also for those that practice this religion?
I could tell you about the symbols. I can't show them to you. Okay. But the symbols, the first symbol that we have is the candelabra itself. And this is the first and foremost tradition of Hanukkah, where Jewish families, each one in their own home, will get together with their family for 8 nights and make the blessings, light the candles, sing the melodies, and join in this special celebration. So that is first and foremost the tradition of Hanukkah. And then there's other symbols. There's the playing of the dreidel. The dreidel is a little game that was played because when the foreign soldiers were trying to prohibit the study of the Torah, of the Bible, the Jewish children were studying the Torah, and when they heard that the Greeks were coming, they would put away their books and play with a little dreidel. And it was basically a game together with some money. And that's the way they were able to camouflage their learning of Torah. So we play that dreidel. Other special foods that there are with this holiday is because it was the miracle of the oil that lasted for 8 days, that we eat various foods with oil, like the latkes, these wonderful pancakes that we eat, and some eat donuts, all fried with oil, representing the miracle of the oil.
We're joined by Rabbi Kasriel Shemtov on today's edition of the Megacast. He is the Vice President and the Executive Director of Chabad Lubavitch of Michigan on the program with us today. And what's great about this time of the year is that the celebrations always begin here throughout the Metro Detroit community for all of our holidays across religions. And so many people join in across religions too, to learn more about their neighbors in our local area, but also to celebrate the holidays in a variety of different ways. You have a great event coming up this weekend, Menorah in the D, happening on December 18th at Campus Martius in Detroit at 5 p.m. Tell us about Menorah in the D and why people should participate.
Well, Menorah in the D, we're going to be celebrating. It's our 12th year, and many people participate. Thank God there's a lot of anticipation and discussion within the community. We've been growing over the years. We go out into the center of the city in Campus Martius. We have a 26-foot menorah, and the community comes together to light that menorah and essentially launches the holiday of Hanukkah for the city of Detroit, for the state of Michigan, because it's at 5 o'clock, 5:30 on December 18th, which is the beginning of the first night of Hanukkah. And we have members from all segments of the community, including dignitaries and corporate sponsors, donors, volunteers, and so many thousands of people that want to be part of the kickoff of Hanukkah this year. And it's always just a festive, wonderful celebration. What's unique about now is that we, because of COVID, we not only have thousands of people that come to the center of the city, but we created this entire production that's streamed online as we're doing that. And we have tens of thousands of people that are watching and participating in the celebration of Hanukkah. This year we took a special effort, where we're making this event of Menorah in the D, and the main presenter of this event is Chabad Lubavitch of Michigan. And we're concerned about every single Jew who is not only in the Metro Detroit area, but throughout the state of Michigan. And we found out that there are people from throughout Michigan, some of the rural areas, that also participate in the online program of Menorah in the D. So we made a special effort to put the word out, and some of them are coming onto Zoom and participating. So we're really looking at this as a broad community celebration. And of course, it's not only members of the Jewish community that are part of this, but it is way beyond the Jewish community, because so much of the message really is a message that applies to all of us.
You can find more information on Menorah in the D, including ways you can participate both in person and virtually, by visiting their website, menorahinthed.com, menorahinthed.com for information, including RSVPing for the event and for the live broadcast on their website, finding information on how you can participate through volunteering and more. Again, the website is menorahinthed.com. And of course, Rabbi, you would expect, with this being a Jewish holiday, that the audience, that those who would be participating would be particularly a Jewish crowd. However, Chabad Lubavitch, yourself and others that are running this event highly encourage other people from across faiths to participate. Why is that such an important element of the celebration of Hanukkah, but also this event, Menorah in the D, happening this weekend?
Well, first of all, I do want to say that this event is presented by many Jewish organizations, really across the spectrum of the Jewish community, including the Jewish Federation, Chabad in the D, and so many other organizations that are part of this. We have, for example, a lamplighter ceremony, which honors 8 lamplighters from across the community. So it's a very broad-based presentation, and it reaches out the message to all citizens. And one of the messages that I think we can learn from Hanukkah, which is really a universal message, is the story of Hanukkah was really a struggle for religious freedom. And thank God we live in a country where we're blessed with religious freedom for all of us. And that's something that all of mankind can learn, how we can get along and be able to help each other with each one in our own way, in our own, to help each other practice and live our lives in peace and harmony. So that's number one. And the second message is that the message of Hanukkah really is that hidden jug of oil that seemed to be defiled, seemed to be under challenge. And when you light that candle, there's a miracle. It brings warmth and light. And the message for us, the spiritual message for everyone, is that all of us have within us a soul. And that's the miracle jug of oil. And when you're going through a challenge, when you're going through difficulty, and there are many members in our community that are going through challenging times, especially after COVID, etc. And the message of Hanukkah is, light that jug of oil. You will see that you have the power and the blessing to be able to light up your life in a time of darkness. And not only to light it up for yourself, but to become a lamplighter, to be able to light up the hearts of others. And if all of us in our community would learn to reach out and embrace others, light up their lives, bring a candle to them, that will make this world a much better place. So this is truly a message, a universal message for all of us here in the city of Detroit and beyond.
Rabbi Shemtov, appreciate you joining us and telling us more about this event, December 18th at Campus Martius, as well as online at menorahinthed.com. Rabbi, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, and happy Hanukkah to all your listeners.
And happy Hanukkah to you as well. Menorahinthed.com is the website to find more information. If you would like to attend in person, the event 5 p.m. at Campus Martius in Detroit on Sunday, December 18th. You do need to RSVP in order to join in person. That website directly is menorahinthed.com/RSVP. That is going to do it for today's edition of the Megacast. I want to thank all of our guests for joining us, and of course, our crew, Calvin Brown at Master Control at My Michigan TV's studio for today's edition of the Megacast, making this show possible 5 days a week, every week of the year. We'll be back very soon with new episodes. In the meantime, you can go to our website to check this episode back, as well as other interviews and episodes of the Megacast at civiccentertv.com/Megacast, and find links to each and every one of our partnering TV, radio, and streaming outlets. That's it for today's edition of the Megacast. We'll return with a new episode very soon.